Okay, Impact Wrestling. Before we get started, I might do a little Zane Report. I'm actually thinking of calling that. I actually thought of making a show called the Zane Report that just says a few tidbits of what has been going on in wrestling. You guys actually want to hear it or see it? Just leave a comment below. I gotta say this, knowing that the main media, the mainstream media, hearing that two outlets oust the WWE saying, hey, your product sucks, one, and anybody who wishes to invest in you should not because your product sucks, is a big hit to WWE. And if you saw this Raw and Raw Underground, I didn't watch the show, but I did hear it in like JD as well as the Wrestling and Podcast, as well as Alex. They talked about it, so I did take a little look at it, and my opinion on it, it's garbage. It was not a good segment, any one of them. And the entire show, except for maybe one segment, that was Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks, was the only interesting thing I saw on the show. Now, I know you could say Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, but honestly, that with Sasha and I'm just saying that Raw sucked, except for one segment. Now, you look at Impact Wrestling, which I've stated 100%, and I do not retract what I state, that we need to be wary about it. Because in many cases, we have been down this road multiple times before, like the WWE, where they say they're going to do something new, do something different, and in many cases, they bury their younger talent, they bury their established talent for talent that's coming in from maybe WWE or somewhere else. This has happened multiple times. Now, as far as I can tell right at this moment, it has not happened yet. But I still recognize that you must not underestimate a writing team's ineptness that they can be beyond stupid. So that's just my feeling about it. But now, the first match, the Heath versus Moose. If he wins this match, the Heath, he gets a spot on the roster. I don't know if he win the title, but he gets the spot. So when it comes down to it, I didn't expect the Heath to win here. By them showing Moose cheating by giving a whack in the gonads, I didn't get that shot. It more than shows they're going to bring him back again. This is exactly how they booked it back in WWE in, I believe it was SmackDown. I can't remember which brand he was on at the time. I do believe it was SmackDown, but it could have been Raw, like I said. This, as I said, is not a bad thing, as long as it does lead him somewhere. The question is going to be, when he gets on the roster, will he have a storyline? That is going to be the question. Or will they just make him float like they did in WWE? I don't know. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be the question. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is the Good Brothers of, well, they just did a little bite off of WWE because you got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, Doc Gallows, basically get busted because they had beer in their SUV. Someone set them up, which we know is Ace Austin. And pretty much Ace getting choked out by Luke and then Luke whacking a cop got his ass arrested. Now I'm like, why did they go there? Look, I'm not saying that the Good Brothers don't drink. Of course they do. And it's cool. But we just seen something similar to the WWE with a Jeff Hardy dealing with Sheamus. Hell, they had a bar fight. So I would expect them to at least not go down a similar road with the Good Brothers getting a problem with the cops and then one of them getting arrested because they whacked a cop in the head. Wouldn't it have been, if it was a real thing with the sheriff, that they both get arrested and taken down to the courts? Well, not to the courts, but the jail, because there was something in the car, the door was open, the liquor was there. If they're going to do this with real cohesion of the story, they should have both been arrested because, yeah, one of them, you don't know who owns the car, you got to arrest them both. That would have been more better. So afterward, Carl Anderson is talking. He said, don't worry, I'm going to get you out, brother. You'll be fine. He gets confronted by Ace. Well, he gets confronted by the Ace. And the Ace had the Madman Fulton whoop his ass. I'm just saying, if you're going to be different than the WWE when it comes to guys who we know drink, you could have done it in a better way than this. This really feels like a bite off of what happened with Jeff and Sheamus. I'm sorry. If you don't agree with me, tell me the reason why I'm wrong. But as far as I can tell, they basically did the same storyline with Sheamus and the Jeff Hardy. The only difference is one of them didn't just come back from rehab. I'm just saying. Now, EC3 had his own vid pack, and he makes it very clear. I'm going after the TNA title, but it's not like you think. I made my legacy with it, and what I want to do is to destroy that legacy. So if anyone thinks that EC3 is going to make the legacy important, here he's talking. And remember, he only has 1 year contract. So even if he holds that title, does not mean he's going to keep it for long. So I got to say this. I am interested in seeing how he's going to destroy the title and its legacy. Because if he does win it by Emergence, because that's the next pay-per-view, I believe, or Impact Plus show. I believe it is Emergence that it is an actual pay-per-view. But if it is going to be a destruction of the TNA title, which a lot of people are not 100% happy that TNA became Impact, this could be a smack in the face to most old school fans. Or to some fans that are old school and ones who are current, this could be something interesting. For me personally, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The question is, how are they going to implement it? I want to see how EC3 is going to destroy the legacy. Not that he's going to win the title. Because winning the title is one thing. Making it mean something destructive or important is the question, and how they write this. You guys tell me below what you think. Now, Kimberly approaches Deonna Purrazzo, and she says, near my face, look, I took care of your rival, and your rival was easy to take care of, wasn't it? So give me a shot. I want a chance at that title. So supposedly next week, I believe, they are going to have a match. I gotta say this. I like Kimberly. I like Deonna Purrazzo. But I don't like that Kimberly is jobbing. And I heard one of my subscribers say, oh, don't worry that she's jobbing. She's still super talented. No. I'm sorry. Being super talented is one thing. Being super talented and given the opportunity to show your talent other than the ring. Remember, to get over properly by other fans, not only they got to go well in the ring, they got to have personality, which we know she does. They got to have a certain ability to talk, which I think she can, but that short talk she had with Deonna was not very long. But also, they got to be pushed to a certain extent. And you're having Kimberly already jobbing to a lot of people. She's jobbed to a lot of people already. And now she's going up against Purrazzo, who obviously she's going to job to set up what's going on in Emergence between her and Jordynne Grace. Does that sound like a super talented wrestler is getting an opportunity? No, she's a damn jobber. I repeat it again. She's a damn ass jobber. Which sucks. And if you say this is good, give me a damn good reason why this is good for her to job again. Because I don't see her winning the title next week, if it is next week. I don't see her winning the title at all because all she's done is job. Period. Now, I'm sorry I sound a little aggressive, guys. I'm not going to lie now, guys. Lately, things have been a little complicated for me. And I have not been myself. And I've been saying this for a while. And I don't like bringing things up. So if I seem a little more aggressive or I just don't look like myself, it's the anxiety and depression's been a little more active than lately. and it's been a little more difficult for me. So I apologize if I sound a little more aggressive or I just don't seem like myself. I'm sorry. Honestly. Don't like bringing this stuff in. Anyway, let's move on. We got the Motor City Machine Guns having a segment in the ring with Jimmy Jacob. Now, you guys know how I felt about the Motor City Machine Guns winning so quickly. It was dumb. Dumb. I'm going to say it right now. I'm glad they won because I knew they were going to win eventually. But being this soon, this quickly, when, let's be honest, XXXL could have easily won those titles before Motor City Machine Guns. Definitely Falabot and TJ Perkins should have won it a while ago. Hell, if you're going to go anywhere, why not Reno Scum win it? Somebody should have won those titles well before the Motor City Machine Guns and well before a signature pay-per-view, maybe Emergence or maybe Bound for Glory. Let the Motor City Machine Guns build up into winning. Hell, they said it in their own segment. They have not been together for 8 years. The last time they worked together in Impact Wrestling, TNA at the time, was 2012. Like I said either 2011 or 2012. I thought that was the last time they worked, and I was correct. Around 2012 was the last time they worked together. Shelley stayed with Impact. And I'm just saying, I just feel like they rushed this. This was wrong. Now, they did try to compensate it with the North coming out. And Alexander made it clear. And I gotta say, I'm glad that Alexander's talking more than Ethan Page. Not that I don't think Ethan is the better talker between the two. Ethan is. But Josh never really had that much opportunity to talk and show what type of personality he is. We know he can do it in the ring. We also know that he has a personality that he just wants to go. But we don't hear him. And seeing that he's been allowed to do the segments has been good. And then once you see the rage and frustration of Ethan Page after that, was great. They both did a great job. So they're going to probably do this at Emergence. They will. But I'm going to say this to you guys, as much as I know so many of you, and I'm sure more than a few of you are going to still leave the same comments over and over again. I am so happy to have it. You don't know how great it is having the Motor City Machine Guns. Tell me something. What happens when they fizzle out? Because they didn't build up into anything. What happens if they just do basic matches with no story and they just float? Because that can happen. They can float after a couple of months. What are you going to do then? We need these guys to actually be treated properly. Not rushed into the main title scene and then they got no story. Look at the WWE. They got no freaking story for their people. Look what they did with Raw Underground. Come on. Want more, guys and girls. Not forgetting you ladies. Want more. Please pay attention. Notice that the writing is not perfect here. And in many cases, they're rushing it because either they have no idea or they've been pushed into a way by the talent themselves, maybe, to have to do it now. I'm hoping that isn't the truth. I'm hoping that's not the main case. My guess is there was a compromise between the talent wanting something and the company wanting something. And they came up with a solution that 100% is not correct, like with the Motor City Machine Guns. I just feel like they should have never been given this title so soon. I'm just saying it. You guys tell me below. Now, we got Wrestle House. Now, this is the shining light of the show. Not saying that the show is bad. Shining light of the show because it's way better than what you get in WWE any day. I'm sorry. It just is. It's funny. They give you good wrestling to a certain extent. They give you funny wrestling. And they give you drama with a triangle like I've talked about that I knew they would eventually go there because that's what they've been setting up. Now, they showed a couple of things. One, cousin Jake having interest in Susie, which is the quote-unquote actual girlfriend, I still believe, of a rich Swann. And they're trying to set something up right there. You got Alyssa telling her that Jake likes her. Then you got Johnny Swinger getting on both of their nerves and an impromptu match. Wrestle Time by the wonderful, I believe I got a shot of him. The Tommy Dreamer is one who's screaming in Wrestle Time. He makes it interesting when he does that. We know they whooped the ass of a Johnny Swinger, but they made it fun. They made it funny. And I'm fine with that. Next, and I do remember one of my subscribers saying about Crazy Steve and Rosemary not even interacting. And you know what? I admit this. This is kind of strange. Why not have Crazy Steve talk to Rosemary at least once, or at least face her once and say, "How you doing?" And she says, "I'm not happy. There's something I want." And he says, "Oh yes, I know what you want. You need to be more aggressive, sister." Because they were in, they were in decay. It makes sense that he would say something to her at least once. They were in a menagerie. They were in decay. Why not let them at least interact once to show that he's been watching? He notices, instead of working just with Johnny Swinger, at least once with Rosemary. I'm not getting it. Now, Kylie Rae faces a Johnny Bravo. There in my face. Johnny has been told, "Hey, we can't leave until you get the hint," because pretty much Kylie Rae heard Rosemary say, "We're not leaving until he gets the hint." And she told him, and he made it very clear, "I may be slow, but I get the hint." And he supposedly packs his stuff and leaves. And Taya, who has no love interest in Johnny Bravo, she wants him as basically her servant. And Rosemary, who wants the man as her enjoyment. She's pretty mad at Kylie and she demands a wrestle match. They're in the ring. And you got Kylie versus Rosemary versus Taya, because she is the ref and she is trying to mess everything up. When it comes down to it, it was a good match. Fun match. And in the end, you got Johnny Bravo coming back. And I believe I got the shot of Rosemary being so happy that he's cheering for her. And it's only him cheering for her. And that's what she wants. She wants him to cheer for her only. And she gets super kicked in the face and she loses. And when it comes down to this lovely triangle, he comes up to her. He says, "Look, I know how you feel, but I'm torn because I feel like I have a responsibility and she's my friend. And you see and I don't know why they made a Taya Valkyrie act so damn silly, but it makes sense that it's all about her. It's her that matters because that's what she wants." And he says, "I can't just turn my back." And Rosemary says, "Then she doesn't have to know." But then you get the Johnny Bravo ear pulled and he's dragged away. And he says, "I won't say nothing." But then you see the Rosemary later on the couch where everyone gets to talk. And she says how long it takes. So she wants him so badly she's ready to bust. As they say in anime, that girl is thirsty. That's what they say in anime to a very hungry and horny female that wants a male, but just can't get him all of a sudden. Now let's move on. I want to say something about Twitch because I was watching. Twitch's numbers have increased to a certain extent. It's not like it was when it first started at least a year and a half to 2 years ago, where it was almost 8 to 10,000. Before the pandemic, before the changes, Twitch was barely at 12 to 1100. Now it's over 4,000. It's jumped up a lot. Now I'm not saying that means that everything's getting better for Impact Wrestling or when it is on Access TV. We still don't know the full numbers on Access. Maybe the numbers have increased dramatically on Access, or maybe it hasn't. But at least for Twitch, the numbers have increased, so it's obvious that the numbers on Access TV has gone up a little bit. We just don't know what the numbers are though, because as far as I know, the Nielsen rating is not going to be tracking it on Access TV. I believe that's a Canadian network, even though it is shown in America. It's not shown with the numbers because it's a Canadian thing. Unless they have a Nielsen rating, which they probably do in Canada, and that the Nielsen rating gets those numbers, we're not going to know what's going on. But it's good to see they're doing something. Let's see here. Eddie versus Sami, which pissed me off, seriously. I'm sorry, guys. I know you probably enjoyed the match. I know you're probably glad to see that we actually saw Sami Callihan maybe turning face, because he came into the ring near the end of the match and threw away the chair that he brought in, and this could mean he might be turning face. You see, at the beginning, before even the match started, you see RVD beating down a Sami Callihan with the Katie Forbes wiggling her ass right in his face and whipping him a little bit. I'm sure you guys are sure thinking that. But here's the thing. Whether they turn him face or he stays heel, this is wrong. You know why? Because Sami Callihan should not be facing an Eddie Edwards outside of a pay-per-view on a regular show on Impact in the middle of the damn show in an open damn challenge when he, repeat this, I repeat this, listen to my words. This guy had heat after working with Eddie Edwards because he popped his eye. He had heat when he dealt with Rich Swann. He had heat, massive heat with Tessa Blanchard, putting her over and letting her become champ. And in the end, where is he now? Nowhere. This leads nowhere. Now, mind you, as I've always said, I don't know it all. And I could be 100% wrong, and this could be his final, somewhat of a face turn to be something like Austin. It's obvious they may be trying to do an Austin turn here. But even if it is an Austin turn, Sami has been screwed over lovely by Impact Wrestling, as well as Tessa Blanchard. Whether you believe Tessa, and I know Andre, I'm glad you're still on. I love you, man. And I understand your point of view, but even if she did not demand $100,000 either because she was owed money or she just wanted it, why did they fire her? There was an issue. We already know there was an issue with her. And Sami put her over. Sami basically bent his ass over, let her take a racket like they used to do in fraternities and say, please whack me in the ass and let me have another. And Impact Wrestling, instead of rewarding him, have left him relegated to this type of situation where the only time he even has an opportunity at the damn title is in an open challenge. With the only possibility of him getting another chance at it is that he may begin to do a betweener position. He may become a tweener. And maybe they'll let him go back into the main title scene, and maybe they'll let him have the title. I find that disgusting, guys. I'm sorry. I understand you're fine with this. I'm glad you're probably seeing that he may be getting a somewhat face turn to be like an Austin. But as far as I'm concerned, Sami Callihan has been given the damn shaft by Impact Wrestling. And to a certain extent, no matter if you want to admit or agree or not, Tessa freaking Blanchard. I'm sorry. Tessa got what she wanted. And I'm not against her. She is doing what's right for Tessa. She's trying to get as much publicity for herself. She's trying to get a good payday for herself. She's trying to make a living for herself. And I don't take nothing from her. More power to her. But she just screwed over someone that was willing to bend over backwards for her and take a smack in the ass multiple times for her. As well as for Impact Wrestling. He did this for both of them, as well as for the industry. And where is he now? Relegated to nothing right now, with a possibility of a betweener turn that might get him somewhere back in the main title, maybe by Bound for Glory, if we're lucky. I'm just saying. Okay, Chris Bay and Raju versus Falaba and TJP. Now, I don't know where this match leads. I don't know what this really meant. Was this really just about trying to promote maybe a tag team between what? Raju and Bay? To start something with them so they can go into the tag division? Is this supposed to be something for Heath Raju to actually try and build into something where if he doesn't turn face, if he's still a heel, he's trying to trick a Chris Bay into giving him a X Division title match. Really? They're in my face, the match itself. I don't feel it. Now maybe with some more video packages of you seeing of Raju trying to really trick him into giving him a title match. Seeing that he's an idiot and he's trying to make sure the title is going to stay with him and say, hey, because they're asking, maybe because the brass in the back is asking him and demanding him to do a match, do one with me, I'll put you over. And then he tricks him and gets the title himself. That would be the only way this would work. That he won his confidence so much. But then, they didn't win. Chris Bay did not win against TJP in Falaba. He lost. TJP pinned him. So what does this mean for Raju? Nothing. I just don't see anything for Raju. It's a joke now. But it's just me, you guys tell me below. Finally, is this the end or the beginning? Rich Swann's video package, and then, well, not video package, but pretty much his segment in the ring, saying clearly, after what happened, when he messed up his entire ankle, destroyed it, and he spent 7 months rehabbing it and managed to come back. And then seeing that Eric Young, destroys him again. He's back to square one, and he's been told, hey, this is it. You're done. You cannot. Well, pretty much he said, when the MRI and the doctor came to him, he pretty much said, things are different. You keep this up, you're risking your health. So he says pretty much, I'm done. I'm retired. Everybody comes to the ring, as you can see in my face. He cries. Good work. He gets a hug from Eddie Edwards. He gets a hug from Willie Mack, who did do a segment earlier saying he doesn't know what's going on. And as he's walking up the ramp, he turns on his crutches. You get the EY, the Destroyer, throw him over, grab his own cane, and as you see in my face, he destroys that cane, whacking him on the ankle brace. Destroys it. So what does this mean? Many things. One, this helps the Eddie Edwards going against Eli. Not Eli Drake, but EY. Always get them mixed up. It's helping that feud. It is. Because sooner or later, these open challenges are going to stop. And you're going to have a feud between Eric Young and Eddie Edwards. So this could actually stop that for a little while, or stop it completely. Unless he's going to do another open challenge, which I think is not worth it. Emergence is coming. And I'd rather see no more open challenges until Emergence. And then if it has to come back, it can come back after Emergence. So that's what I'm hoping for with that. For Rick Swann, if this is a work, we already know it's a work. Eric Young would not attack him like that in real life. That would not happen. And we would hear reports of Eric Young getting arrested. We know this is a work. So my guess is someone's heading off. Someone's probably heading to AEW. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think he's going back to WWE. If Rich Swann goes to WWE, that is a death sentence for his career again. So my guess is AEW. But I can't put anything past Impact Wrestling. So he's gone for now. Maybe he might consider going to AEW, or because of the rage he has, we may see Rich Swann again at Bound for Glory. Now I'm saying it right now, if anyone will remember that I said this, there's a good possibility this is a setup for him to come back. If Eric Young wins the title, and he waits a couple of months before Bound for Glory, you got Rich Swann just before Bound for Glory coming back and attacking an Eric Young, so you can set up a Rich Swann to win the title at Bound for Glory. That's if they are going to hold it, which I do believe they will hold it. Somewhere maybe in October, I believe. Or November. Somewhere around October, November. I do believe they will have a Bound for Glory. So this is what it could be. One, he could be finished. His contract is done. He goes to AEW. And that's it. Two, they could be setting this up. Making him stay away for a couple of, more than a few months. Again, he's gone for a few months. You got Eddie Edwards jobbing to Eli. Eric Young, not EY, not Eli. EY. He wins the title, he holds it, and then he goes up against Rick Swann, who will win the title of Bound for Glory. This is what I think might happen. But it's just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.